It's Linda MacPhee's workshop. Here's Linda.
Hi, I'm glad you joined us today because this program has all kinds of interesting things that we're sewing, we're creating, we're building, we're doing lots of fun things. And garments and skirts are some of my favorites. And I was thinking the person that I have sewn with for a long time, I invited her to come, and it's Rosemary Moran. It's nice to have you, Rose.
Hi, Linda.
In fact, we just said 20 years. It's
20 years we've known each other.
yeah.
Been
and
sewing.
We've been sewing. And, I mean, isn't it fun over the years to see how fashions change and bodies change and things, everything goes on. So, yeah, it is good.
So what are we making?
Okay, we're making, I love skirts. And you love skirts, obviously, too. I like two-piece because then you can make the tops to match, or you can make contrast things, and, you know, you've got the same match, which is good. I mean, it's so simple, and the top and the skirt, perfect. So that's what we're making. And you know how I love quick and easy.
Yes.
So this is one of our most ridiculous, quickest things in the world. Let's show you. Shall I do that?
Sure.
Okay, let's bring our model on. So if you look at this, it doesn't look instant. That is the joy of this. It looks like it's complicated. But can I just do this? And I know this is kind of cruel. You just trust me. Here is a square. It's actually a square of fabric, and there's another square underneath. So there's two squares onto the circle of her waist, or of her...
That's where the circle comes in.
Yeah, it's called circle square. And then we made the top. This fabric is rather exquisite, I think. It's something called Beggar, and it's actually all ratty like that. Beggar as in very rich or very poor, and I'm going with very rich, don't you think? It looks just amazing. It's just quite fun. And so we said a little piece of stuff left over. We said, well, let's just call that a sash, and let's wear it like that. And so turn around, and we'll just see this whole thing. Oh, yeah. You got it. Okay, so let's have another. And this, again, you want something soft and drapey, and because if this was too stiff, this would not work.
So is this like a sheer fabric?
Yes, it is, and it's woven. That last one was a knit. So you can use knit or woven, or a combination of the two. That last one we did a knit and a sheer together. So this one is 2 layers of, and she's getting a little worried as I do this too, this is 2 layers of sheer. So again, the top, and the top is 2 layers, because that's kind of fun to do as well. Then you don't have to wear a slip, so that works out well. So the top is 2 layers. And then we had some left over, so we said, well, let's call that a tie, and let's take the other little scrap and make it into the little rosette. And we've got, turn around. One of my models that wore this, I think it was in San Francisco, she said, oh, it's Island Girl. And she was just floating, and it's a very floaty kind of a thing. So it is fun, so thank you so much. All right, so let's talk about how we're going to make this one. And I always like to show everybody this because it's so easily shown on a square. We talk about a square of fabric. And this square could be the 60 inches, 60, you know, it could be 60, or it could be whatever, 45 if you want 45. It could be whatever width.
So if it was 45, would it be a shorter skirt?
Yes, it would be, yeah. Although we could put a longer drop waist on it. So again, you can play around. So you put it into 4, and then you cut out your waist. So here is, so this is the, I should say, this is the circle. So here's your circle, and there's your square.
So the measurement of that circle would have to be the measurement of your thickest part?
Yes, actually there's a pattern, and we have that worked out, but you can see that now that I've got this is where your body is going to have to fit, and this is going to go around your hip. So that's the measurement of your hip. So if you want to make 2 of them, you can easily do that. We can make another one here. Cut out our circle right away. And if we're going to put 2 of them, I would say let's put 2 of them this way. So that when you put this on, you've got them going at different angles.
The points are at different directions.
Which is kind of fun. And these could be 2 different fabrics. They could be 2 different colors. And
oh, it goes on and on, right?
Doesn't it? Okay, so that's what we've got here. We're actually cutting 2 of them. So here's the first square. And it's a neat idea before you even begin this is to finish off the edges. And, I mean, hemming this is going to be a bit of a pain. So why not just roll hem?
And rolled hem is on the serger.
Yes, and it's a simple little process. If you've got a serger, this is a great time to use it. So you could finish off that whole thing. In fact, that's what I see you've done on your neckline as well. That's a nice way to finish here and here on the top.
You have to adjust your controls on your serger to get it so that the top thread rolls over to the bottom. I suppose another idea you could use would be a decorative thread around different color around the edge on a sheer fabric.
So we're going to cut that, and we're going to end up with this, which is coming up right here. And it's kind of tough to see, but if you look, here is your 2 squares, and we've basted the 2 together, so you can see that we've offset them. So here's the 2 basted together. So this is the skirt part. So now we just have to put, so I'll give that one to you. So now we just have to put a waistband on it. So here's the waistband. And the waistband really has to be the measurement around you, whatever is comfortable. I mean, within reason, because of course it has to fit this as well. But this could be 1 layer, or if it's sheer like this, you might want to make it deep enough that you can do a double so that you don't have to then have anything. So we would sew this into a tube and then sew it onto the top of this. So if I even just put 1 pin, or I'll bring the pins over, and we'll just pretend that we've done this, because, and again, I wouldn't make this measurement, this waistband, I would make sure that I took my fullest part of my hip, you know, not the fullest part maybe, but wherever I want this to sit, and I would add probably 3 or 4 inches to that to make sure.
So you're adding the ease into the waistband? Yes,
into the waistband, because there's lots of room on this.
Right.
So once we sew that, you can see that we've got ourselves a fairly lovely skirt. I mean, it's Island Girl. This is Island Girl. This is fun. So let's do the top. And the top we've got laying out over here. And again, you can do, I wouldn't do a brown one to match the blue one, but we have 1 of each. So cut this out.
Now, Linda, I have seen you do some of those strange things over 20 years.
Yes, you have.
Where you've added brown to blue.
True enough, true enough. But let's pretend that this is going to match that first one.
Okay.
So we would cut 2 of these out. We would cut 1 out on this line. And I think you might also notice I'm doing a large on this, and I did a medium on that.
And why are you doing that?
Because it was actually sized for a knit. And anything that's sized for a knit, if you cut it out of woven, you better go bigger.
You know, for those of you that don't know, knit does stretch where
yes,
this isn't going to stretch.
So the inner layer, we said there's no point in having a long sleeve on it. But the other interesting thing is cut them different levels. I always hate things that you have to make even. You know, at the end of the skirt, you get worrying about evenness. This is so much more fun these days. Exactly. Yours is not even. Nothing's even. No, it works. So there, pretend we cut that out.
Okay.
Here we go. We're going
Imagination.
There we go. The magic of television. This is actually turned inside. This is the inside of this one. So you can see that this is cut off. And again, just serged on the edge. But let's flip it this way, because this is now, oh no, this wasn't the inside. You were right. You were right.
We have.
Okay, now we've got it inside out. All right. We go this way. And here we go again. So we've got 2 layers. So this layer and this layer. When we put them together, I wanted to finish off the neckline. So I thought, you know, rather than put a facing, rather than doing the rolled hem, then what we could do is we could just put the 2 together, flip them, sew them, and flip them.
Yes.
And then this is going to be finished.
So to do that, do you put right sides together, wrong sides together?
What are you going to do? So if you look at this, this has to be right side. This has to be right side. We want it to finish off that way. So we have to put wrong side to right side. You're going to have to actually just play with this and sort of see which way goes which way. Because
so in the case of beginner sewers with this fabric, both sides look very similar. So
would it really matter?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. It probably wouldn't.
But maybe they should mark.
The end result is that you want to have a finished seam there and a finished seam there, so that you don't have raw edges. What you're going to do is you're going to sew. We did actually make a little slash in the back of this so that you could have some room, because again it was built for a knit and it's not a knit. So if we put a little slash, then we can sew around there. Flip that, clip that before you flip it. Flip it over, and then we can put a little button and loop.
By clipping, you mean just snipping into the seam?
Yeah,
that you've already made?
The scissors were here, but they're not here, so we're just going to clip, and finish that off. So that makes a nice top to go with the skirt, which makes your whole outfit, which makes it time to go dancing, I think. Okay, we did it.
Right.
All right.
Is there any way of using up your scraps?
Well, actually, you got that right. So there was a piece left over. Like, the pieces are just kind of funny. And I thought, you know, this would make a great sash. So just serge around it. Just call it a sash. Or call it a neck piece if you want. Or make it into the little flower thing, whatever. It works.
So the flower thing, would you just sort of gather it up?
Yeah, you would. If you want to do a serge, and you could gather that all up and kind of put it into the whole flower like that. It's the way we had it on our model, and that works. Okay, thanks, Rose. This has been great.
Thank you.
And don't you go away, because we got a whole bunch more good stuff coming. I'm at the Canadian Craft and Hobby Association here in Calgary, and I love being here because this is where the action is. There's all kinds of people that know all kinds of things that want to show me what they do. And I ran into my friend, Eva Holden from Warm and Natural.
Hi, Linda.
And you've got a bunch of new stuff. You always have new exciting things when I see you.
Well, you know, there's so many, they call them red work patterns out there. You know, they used to do it red work, blue work.
What is this red work?
Well, they used to do it all in one color on kitchen towels or, you know,
like it's embroidery.
Is
this
it's
what you're
embroidery.
saying?
Okay. They used to use, it's the back stitch, or I guess it's called the stem stitch.
Oh, so yes, so it makes it more showy? Is that
well, right.
Sort of?
I love the patterns, but I don't have enough time to get them done. So I started doing them on the sewing machine.
Theoretically, you would have done these by hand. Is that what you're saying?
You're supposed to. But now I've decided to try doing them on the machine, so I've challenged myself to do them on the machine. And I use the triple stretch stitch, which goes forward, backward, forward.
Lots of show for little effort.
Yes. And it looks hand.
Let's look at some of them. Then I think we can see what we're talking about.
These are some samples that I've done using the triple stretch stitch, and you can see that I've done the laddering. I've used some of the decorative stitches on your machine, so you can tell your husband that you needed that machine, and you're showing him that you're using those wonderful stitches.
Yeah.
The other one with that button, again, I could do the wall hanging, the piecing, but getting that laddering done would take me a long time, but doing it on the sewing machine really speeds up the whole process.
Like you can place it and you can figure all this stuff out and just press your button and do it, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah. When you do the lettering, you're going to want to use a shorter stitch. When you do a lot of the straight parts, you lengthen your stitch length because it gets done faster.
Sure. Did you sew all those buttons on by machine too?
That I did by hand.
Okay, but you could have.
You could.
Actually, you could set your machine up to do that.
But I kind of wanted more of that fuzzy look for those. Yeah. And then carrot cake counts as a vegetable, right? Love carrot cake, and I thought that was a fun one. Again, done on the sewing machine. The pom-pom nose was done, by hand.
Yeah. So you could dream your own project up, or you could get a pattern for
Absolutely.
such a thing. So you decide.
Yes. Yeah. So now more people are willing to buy the red work patterns that are out there.
Sure.
So.
Okay.
Are we ready to start our project?
So this is the project that we're going to be doing today.
This is the one I'm going to demonstrate in Merry Pumpkin Season, and we've, again, done it all in the sewing machine. We did sew the buttons and the raffia by hand, but the rest is
But this could have been a placemat if we hadn't put all that on.
Correct.
Or it could be a wall hanging.
Or drape over a couch.
Sure. Okay, what do we need?
But what I like to do when I do red work on the machine is I like to use the Warm Company's white bleached cotton batting.
Okay.
It acts as a stabilizer, and it sticks like a flannel board.
Oh, it does.
Any of my projects do.
Yeah.
And then I also
just one layer of this?
One layer of that's fine.
All right.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Then I like to, a lot of times people will work on, tea dyeing stuff, but I like to use Osnaburg because it's got kind of that fluffy tea dyed look.
Yes,
and I don't
have to. Very natural, doesn't it?
Then I don't have to wait for my stuff to dry because it's ready to go.
Yeah, but you could use muslin or you could use whatever.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
The pattern that I'm using today, Merry Pumpkin Season, comes from hand-stitched samplers. I love to challenge myself, cross out the word hand, and do it on the machine.
Yes. Okay.
So the tip I want to share with you, Linda, is you take
getting that pattern onto there.
Getting that pattern on there without tracing. Sometimes people use light boxes, but I use my iron. Okay. So what I do is I'll take the pattern, take it to a copy store where they have the large copiers, and I have them print it for me. And I have them use just a little bit of toner because that makes it kind of raised and it will help me transfer.
Okay, but the big thing I think
is what
you
want to do is you want to do the mirror image of it because then you don't have to trace the pattern, the words.
Yes, because otherwise you're in trouble.
Right.
You got them all backwards. Okay,
and if your pattern has got something that's really dark and you don't have a stitch on your machine like this, then what I do is I take my scissors and I will cut out anything that is real dark because then I can pick a stitch on my sewing machine that fills that in rather than doing those X's.
Yeah. No, it gives you more freedom. I can see that.
All right, the next.
So the reason that you don't do this at home is that your copier will not give enough ink on here because
Yeah, and I want to save you time. I've already tried it with the inkjet printer, and I've tried it with the laser printer, and there's not toner because it soaks into the paper, so it won't transfer.
The toner is going to be the key to get this next step.
So, unfortunately, you have to go, get in your car, and go to a copy shop.
That's good.
All right. So what you want to do now is, like you can see, I've cut out all the dark part. You put it down, the printed side down. You're going to take your iron and you're going to apply a lot of pressure and a lot of steam. You don't want to scoot it back and forth because then that will move. You'll get shadows. I mean, you might want shadows on some of the designs, but then you're just going to put steam.
Just once over or a couple of times over?
A couple times. And I like to just iron at home with just a beach towel, and I work on like a Formica counter.
Yeah, sure.
And just pressure. And you don't want to
you could peek. Surely you can peek and see. If it's...
So then what you want to do is you just want to peek, and you can see without doing any transferring, I have the design transferred onto my Osnaburg.
Love it, love it, love it.
Now, do you see how much time I just saved?
Yeah.
I had to go to the store, get it printed, but then you can have it make several
You couldn't
copies.
use this again. That would be pushing.
You could probably use it a second time.
Okay.
But most of the time, you know, it's like, it doesn't cost
Get
that
a couple of copies while you're there. Yes.
So now your design is printed.
Okay.
Now we're ready to go to the sewing machine and practice that triple stretch stitch.
Okay, so because we're going to have to outline those lines. We know what we have to sew.
Now we're ready to sew this.
Yes. Okay. So now what are we going to do?
On the machine.
Here, I'll take this out.
What you want to do is I recommend that you take a piece of your cotton batting. And this time my sample one is just muslin.
Sure.
But again,
you should use the same.
Same fabric. What you're going to do is either use a transparent foot or an open toe foot. Then you want to go on your main menu and you want to press the utility stitch. And you can see it comes up with all of these utility stitches. And on the Husqvarna Viking, they have the triple stretch stitch, so it's either stitched to the left, the middle position, or the right position. And I'm going to pick the
middle,
number 8. And then what I want to do is I want to make some adjustments. So I'm going to press the adjust. And because on this wall hanging, the pumpkins can be stitched with a longer stitch, I'm probably going to go 4.0 or 4.5. But when I get to do the lettering, I want to shorten it because I've got the curve of the E, the Y. So then I probably do it at the 3.0, which it comes on when you turn on your machine. So when I first get started, I tried.
What kind of thread? Are we going to talk about thread?
Well, on the pumpkins and on a lot of my stitches now, I like to use a variegated thread. And you can kind of
an embroidery thread of some kind, something that shows well, I would think. And you're going to do that triple stitch anyway. So.
Right. So you can see this variegated thread gives you a real nice range of colors, and it's not that far apart.
And I'm sure we've got lots of threads. People do seem to collect thread. That's a good one.
So again, take your machine
and try it out. Isn't that what you're saying?
And try it out. And then stitch and then practice. And what I do is I'll mark down what stitch length I used, and then that will just remind me. And again, practice first, lengthen, shorten your stitch length, and you're ready to go. So now we're going to very quickly go to the next step. And we've got all our bits and pieces for our wall hanging. And I'm at the point now where I'm just a real fast sewer, so I've already stitched this.
You are amazing. That's great.
Right.
Yeah, but I like your length of your stitch. That looks great.
Right. This is a much longer stitch length. Again, the heart, because you're going around the curve. I like to have the needle down position.
Okay.
And now I'm ready to apply all of my techniques.
This looks like my answer right here.
Right. So what I like to use is a fusible web to apply my first border, and I call this my iris flap.
Okay.
It's a piece of fabric, fold it in half, draw your lines, square up, put it on, peel off your paper backing.
Okay. And now this is sticky. Is this a sticky?
This is the sticky. It's double-sided fusible web.
You measure that up.
Put that on. Cut it off. Take your iron, press that one on.
Okay.
Do the next side and finish that. Then we're going to take, I've got a surprise for you today, Linda.
What?
We have got a fabulous new rotary cutter. All right, we're going to measure, let's say our outside border is there.
Okay.
So I'm going to cut it. Now notice, I'm cutting it left-handed.
Right, you noticed that right
Now
away.
I want you to take the rotary cutter and I want you to cut your strip the same as mine.
Okay.
All right, go ahead and cut your strip to match mine.
How do I know how length your?
Oh, like that's close enough. Okay.
You want me to cut this? Okay.
Yeah. What'd you notice about that great cutter?
It was good. Yeah.
Okay, I'm
your left and I'm right. Yeah, yeah.
And you're right.
Yeah,
we both
can
use
it.
it.
Yeah.
Did you change the blade?
No, I didn't.
No.
It's good. That's
good. We're a good team.
Good. Yes, yes, yes.
All right.
All right.
Now we're ready.
Pushing on.
Pushing on. Now we're ready for our binding. And again, I make yards of binding because I've got several of these for gifts.
Yep, yep.
Because I used a plaid, I decided to make my binding on the bias.
Yeah.
And now I've got the binding already stitched on. And another easy technique is to go through and take the double-sided fusible web.
Okay.
Stick it on. Peel off the fusible web. Pull your binding to the back.
And
pull that paper backing off.
And it sticks down.
And
you could trim out some of that if you need.
Well, you'd have to trim it. Again, you'd work at the iron, but
sure. Yeah.
And then that
will sticks down. And do we sew that then, or we don't?
Then you have the finished one.
Actually, I have the finished one. Yes. Here we go.
You have your choice then. On the back, you can take your binding and sew it to the back.
Okay.
Or fuse it to the back.
Okay. That was simple. I think we did it. We did it. Good job. And then you're going to sew these on after.
Right.
Yeah.
Then if you wanted to, like this one was another one that I did, I decided to do a little bit of applique. I did all of the stitching using the triple stretch stitch, and I used the quilting stitch. And you can also take your fabrics and use a fusible web
over and
do some applique on it if you want. So
in fact, that's what you've done on the quilt. No, you didn't do any applique. You just did stitching.
Just did stitching.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you. This has been great.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And you've inspired me again, and I hope she's inspired you, because this doesn't look like rocket science. I think it's going to be fun.
No, it'll be good. Again, it's a great way to use the triple stretch stitch instead of using the stem stitch or the back stitch.
Or doing it by hand.
Or doing it by hand.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Don't go away. Hello again. This is what Eva made, and that's kind of neat, don't you think, Rose?
Yes, it is. It's just lovely. And where is Eva from?
Eva's actually from Washington. She looks familiar to you probably because she's at lots of shows. She travels around teaching all this kind of stuff as well.
Sure, I've seen her.
Yes, yeah. So that's what we did. But I thought we should just finish up with this outfit because we kind of rushed it, and we said it's quick and easy, and I didn't actually turn this. So I would say if a person is fussing about how to get these two, which side goes to which side, you had a good solution to that.
Just make two and wear one on top of each other, and then you wouldn't have to sew them together.
Yeah, you don't have to hook them together, so they could be quite good that way.
Be my solution.
Yeah, but
and you'd also have two different tops, a short sleeve or a no sleeve top.
Yeah, that would work. So that's quite clever, actually. But let's just turn this and flip it. So you've got to get in between those two, flip this. Okay. And this is always tricky to me because I think, okay, now we flipped it, now what happens?
You have to shove it down inside
so let's get that short-sleeved one inside the other one.
Okay.
Have you got the right one?
Yep. Go up in here and pull it down.
All right, and then when we pull this out, here we go. Yeah, that still goes inside. Get in there.
It doesn't want to go in there.
Yeah. But here we go now is the finished top. And let's show the other one because we did that neckline finish at that one. So there it is, just the button and the loop. So we did it, and we're done. I got to leave, we got to finish. I hope you got inspired. I hope you can make some skirts. We'll see you next time. We'll have great fun.
To receive the companion book for this series, send $19.98 to the address on your screen or call 1-888-MacPhee.